Oh boy. This is a video right here that we've been wanting to make for a very long time. But considering the year ends in December, and yes, this even applies to 2020, we decided to wait. But when it came to waiting when we were going to do this, we thought about doing it after Christmas like usual, but then I really felt like with Nintendo, if they don't reveal anything at the Game Awards, I mean sometimes they do, but they don't usually reveal anything else in December. They either don't reveal anything at the Game Awards like last year, or there is a surprise. And this year there was a surprise. But overall, this is a video that I've been very excited to make. I'm sure you've been excited to make it too. And it's just overall, the thing is, Nintendo's 2020, there's a lot to say about it. Oddly fitting considering that it is 2020 and of course there is a lot to say about it, so I guess they go hand in hand.
Yeah, we have quite a lot to say. Besides obvious circumstances, this has been quite the year for Nintendo fans, now hasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly has been, so I did a little video kind of touching on it. It was called The Problem with Nintendo, and that was a little more filtered. This video right here is just going to give our raw opinions. We're not going to hold back. If you're at the weak of heart or you're a Nintendo show that can't handle any criticism, you are not going to like this video. So I'm just warning you that, okay, sometimes people don't like to see negative videos, and that's okay because I totally get it. I'm going to warn you ahead of time, there's going to be a lot of criticism in this video. There is going to be a lot of so-called bashing Nintendo. Although I think all our points are valid and they're fair. It's just, if you don't want a negative video, there are plenty of videos on the channel that are a lot more positive, uplifting. So, with that disclaimer out of the way, we're going to talk about some positives first in our Nintendo 2020 review, because there were a few of them. So, I'm going to start off with the biggest one, Animal Crossing New Horizons. I gotta say, that was easily Nintendo's biggest game this year. It's one of their biggest games ever, and I had a blast playing it.
I think, honestly, this game, considering the context of where it came out, it was honestly something that everyone was playing. I think it was quite a phenomenon back in the spring, because everyone had just gone into lockdown and nobody really knew what to do. But when Animal Crossing came out, that's what everyone was playing, and yeah, it was great. Animal Crossing is great. It has, a lot of substance to it. You get to hang out with friends. You get to build up your town, or rather your island. It was great. It was great to see a game from Nintendo coming out and having that impact again. Not that it hasn't in a while. It's just, it's always nice to see those types of things.
Yeah, it really is nice to see. And going on to Animal Crossing, I got it the first day it came out. This is when the pandemic first started, and this was before everything was really getting into lockdown. But during the beginning of the pandemic, I would play Animal Crossing a lot. I still go back to it sometimes, but it couldn't have come out at a better time. It was so much fun playing the game, creating my own stuff. One of the things I really like to do is make t-shirt designs and stuff like that. I just have a lot of fun with customization, things like that. Games like WarioWare Do-It-Yourself, obviously, because that game is awesome right there and needs to come back to the Switch. Flipnote Studio. Nintendo, get the hint. Bring Flipnote to the Switch too. I just like creative games, and I think Animal Crossing, it does have a few shortcomings which we'll get into, but I think those shortcomings, in my personal opinion, are far outweighed by the positives with the game. Honestly, after playing Animal Crossing, it's something that's so relaxing to play, and you can play with friends too, like you said. When we were in the beginning of the lockdown, Easter was coming up, and for Greeks it's on a different day, but usually we'd have some sort of celebration. So what I decided to do was I had a Greek Easter celebration in Animal Crossing. I invited 2 of my friends to celebrate with me, and I did a little Easter egg hunt where I put gold all over my island, and they'd have to look for it, and we had a blast playing it. So needless to say, I think Animal Crossing New Horizons is an excellent game. Does it have problems with content? Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about how it lacks content that New Leaf had, and I totally get the criticism and it's completely valid, but in my personal opinion, it didn't affect my experience with the game. I still got 100 hours into it, and honestly, it's one of my favorite games on the Switch. Now, I'm not sure if you feel as strongly, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, because you haven't played that much of it. In fact, I think you're the only person who's put less than 100 hours into it that I know.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it when it first came out. I think I was still adjusting to school during the pandemic, so I didn't have too much time. But once that settled down, I played as much as I could. The only issue I have with Animal Crossing is that you can only have one island per console. So I was kind of stuck on my brother's island instead of building up my own island. So I think some of the experience was taken away from me. But regardless, I did have a fun time. I remember I was playing a lot with my friends online. We would actually have like I don't know if you did this, like somebody would hide in one of the houses and we would have to find each other. But what my friends would do would be they would switch houses like continuously as I kept searching, so it became endless, like an endless loop. It was funny. But yeah, it was fun. It was a fun multiplayer experience. It wasn't really something that I was too invested with on my own time. It's just not my type of game I like to sink my teeth into. But for what Animal Crossing is, it really is fun. I love the relaxation it brings to you and the tranquility. It's really nice to like harsh times like these. But yeah, even though I didn't play it as much, doesn't mean I can't appreciate the game for what it is. It's still a fantastic game.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And like you said, it might not be for everyone. And, overall, I think that, with the game, it really did bring that sort of a social gathering and social connection during these times where people couldn't see each other in person. That's why Animal Crossing is so great, because it's a life simulator, and like you said, it couldn't have come out at a better time. One more thing, your friends are jerks for doing that. And I remember when you were on my island one time, you were trying to steal all my fruit, and then you gave me some. Do you remember that?
I do, yeah. That was fun. That was fun. That was genuinely fun. I had a lot of fun doing multiplayer things like that and trolling my friends. I know, like, they got annoyed, and then I got annoyed when they did that to me, but, like, in hindsight, that was a lot of fun. I really like that. I wish, now that I think about it, I wish we had more online party games to play, because, man, there's just so much potential. But anyways, I'm getting off topic, but yeah, I had a lot of fun in that regard.
You know what? I think we should play Animal Crossing after this discussion, because I really want to play it now, because we had so much fun playing it, and, it's just really nice to have the social aspect when you can't really have it in person because of what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do it.
Yeah, because we've been trying to find multiplayer games to play on the Switch other than Mario Kart and Smash Bros. Because one, Mario Kart is very old at this point, and two, Smash's online isn't very good. But yeah, I would say Animal Crossing? Well, obviously my favorite game on the Switch is Super Mario Odyssey, then followed by Breath of the Wild and then Luigi's Mansion 3. But I would say Animal Crossing is totally up there with my favorites, and that, right there, is Nintendo's best moment of 2020. So, even though there's a lot to say, I will give them credit when credit is due. Animal Crossing was fantastic, and it couldn't have come out at a better time.
I agree.
So then going on to the next positive, we have Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I did not expect Hyrule Warriors to get a sequel, and the Dynasty Warriors game and Zelda games in general, they aren't really games that I play a whole lot of. Like, I have a few Zelda games, of course. I love Breath of the Wild, and I'm currently playing Link's Awakening, but, it's just a little bit surprising that it got a sequel, or not a sequel, like a prequel that's also Dynasty Warriors and Hyrule Warriors sequel. And I played the demo of it, so I'm actually taking your role this time, because you usually say I played the demo. No, it's Dimitri saying that this time. And I thought it was a really fun game. I really liked it. There were a few issues with the frame rate here and there, but overall, it's really fun. It's cool they did something like that. And one thing I absolutely love about it is that it takes from Breath of the Wild and turns it into a spin-off. So it'd be kind of like if the Mario spin-offs took more from the mainline games like they used to. Like,
Yeah.
maybe if they have a new Mario Golf next year, they could take aspects from Super Mario Odyssey. You get what I mean?
That'd be great. Yeah, I would love that. I yeah, we'll discuss games we think are coming next year, but I think that that's really likely, and I'm kind of excited for that. Not at the idea of another golf game, just at the idea of Odyssey things being in spin-off games.
I mean, yeah, that'd be awesome because I feel like Nintendo hasn't taken advantage of the Odyssey things enough. Like, we had Pauline and
Oh yeah.
Mario Tennis and Mario Kart Tour, but that was kind of
Mhm.
it. We don't see a lot of the cool stuff we saw in Odyssey, so hopefully it can be used. So yeah, I would say Age of
I hope so.
Calamity was a really cool thing. I don't have the full game yet, but I definitely see that as a positive, and people really like the game. So I think it was a
Yeah.
good thing. Now going on to a few other things. We had Mario Kart Live Home Circuit and the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch. Now these things are things that I have that you don't currently have. I know you got the Mario Kart Live thing for your brother for Christmas. So
Correct.
I've had the experience with both, so I'll talk about it a little bit. Mario Kart Live is a really cool thing. In a way, I kind of see it as a mini amusement park attraction. Really fitting considering that Super Nintendo World has a Mario Kart thing, and it kind of reminds me of that. And overall, it's fun. Of course, it's not great. It's not Mario Kart 9 that we all wanted. It's not one of the best Mario Karts ever made, but it's a fun experience. I had fun making the courses, and it's really cool using in your house. It controls well. It's durable, which is something you can't say a lot of Nintendo products nowadays, except for the gates, which are made out of cardboard. And overall, I think it's a pretty good time. Not sure if it's worth the $100, but I had fun playing it.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously bought it for a gift. It's pretty steep in price, and it's almost amiibo levels of hard trying to find it. I mean, amiibo's pretty easy to
I mean,
come by
nowadays
nowadays.
they
For
are,
back
but
in the day,
we're looking back at like
Yeah, but back in
2014,
the day-
15.
yeah, those were the dark times when we had artificial scarcity. We still have it now, but anyways,
To a different extent,
yeah,
though.
yeah, to a different extent. I mean, I had a hard time looking for the game. I hope I like it because it's $100. I'm sure it's just kind of like a novelty thing that'll wear off in a little bit, but
Yeah, exactly.
you know, I like these little experiments that Nintendo does here and there. I like the idea of Labo. I wish they went a little further with it, but the price, man, nobody's paying $80 for cardboard. You know, I just wish if it was cheaper and if they actually tied it in with actual main game releases. I'm so surprised that that was not a thing with Yoshi's Crafted World. I thought that was a no-brainer. But anyways, I digress. I'm going on a rant, on a tangent.
No, but I totally get what you mean. If it's for your brother, he's definitely going to like it, because it's definitely something more for kids than people our age who just really enjoy Nintendo games. The thing is, if there's a Mario Kart game on the Switch, obviously I'm going by 8 Deluxe right now, because that's unfortunately all we have. Oh no. I mean, I'm heartbroken even saying it. But with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I just put it in my Switch, get the controller, set it up. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit's a little bit of a process. You gotta find a room to put it in. It has to have enough space. You gotta put the gates around. But once you really get into it, it's fun. It's just definitely more of a novelty. Just like the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, but I'm a connoisseur of Game & Watch. It's built very well, just like the original Game & Watches were. It plays great, has a beautiful screen, and even though you're playing Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels and Ball for the upteenth time, it's still a really nice thing to have, and it's a novelty. That's really all it is, though. It's a novelty. But what were you going to say?
I was going to say that the artwork that it comes with, the special artwork, is amazing. I mean, I love that they put Mario and Luigi in their classic sprite colors from the original Super Mario Brothers and Mario Lost Levels. I think that was a really nice detail that we got from that.
Yeah, and I was going to say, the artwork and the Easter eggs were so cool. I don't want to spoil too many of them, because that's really the experience you're getting with it. Just the Easter eggs and little nods to Mario. But they even had the Mario drawing song. and seeing a flip note 10 years after it came out, because I remember when they had the Mario drawing song, it just brought back so much nostalgia, and there was really a lot for every Mario fan to enjoy here. And the artwork, like you said, artwork was amazing. And what's even cooler is that they used Mario and Luigi's in-game colors, so you got Mario with the brown shirt and the red overalls. That's something they've never done before, and I found that super cool.
Never. Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say, and another thing, the artificial scarcity you mentioned earlier, I'm really proud of Nintendo for not doing that anymore with their physical products. Super Mario 3D All-Stars was in really high supply. The Mario Game & Watch. Mario Kart Live has had a few problems, but if you want it, you should be able to get it. And I really applaud them for that, so that's definitely another positive.
They've been getting better with that. I mean, it's still there to an extent, but you know, not as bad as you know, as they used to be, or with certain next gen consoles, of course.
I think Best Buy is going to get a shipment of the PS5s, which like 60 to 150 per store, but I can't confirm that, but it's supposed to happen soon.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that, but yeah.
Yeah, and finally, we're going to talk about physical My Nintendo rewards, because this is something people have wanted for a long time. My Nintendo really sucked. I'm going to be blunt here, it was not good. What, you can use your points to get coupons on games? Whoopee. The gold points you could at least use for other games though, but they're digital games, which is something I don't really like to invest in. But with the physical rewards, I think it's super cool. Yes, you do have to pay shipping, but the Super Mario 3D All-Stars poster set I got was really nice. They have a few things like ornaments, coasters. Nothing as cool as what you'd find on Club Nintendo, but I'd say it's a step in the right direction. What do you think?
I haven't actually used it that much. I wasn't aware that they were doing that again. I'm from the Club Nintendo days. I remember when they had that Luigi's Mansion statue. I think I didn't have enough points to get it, but I really wanted that.
Oh, I know.
They had a lot of cool things. They had a lot of cool things.
I had enough points to get the Luigi's Mansion statue, but I was saving up to get the Game & Watch ball. Unfortunately, I didn't until I bought it from eBay a few years later, but, you know, Club Nintendo was really cool. But other than Animal Crossing, Age of Calamity, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, and the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch, this year has been a disaster for Nintendo. Quoting Stephen Colbert, of course, this is going to be a disaster. This is about to go downhill, so everything positive we said, it's going to go downhill like SpongeBob Season 3 to Season 6 downhill. And that is not a good thing.
One could say it's a fiasco.
Yes, it is a fiasco indeed. I'm surprised you remember that, because I remember it was in one discussion we did, but I'm glad it's back. Hashtag bring back fiasco. So anyways, we're going to get into the negatives now, so we're going to go into this in full force. And we're going to start off with what I think the biggest problem is, and this has persisted throughout the Switch's life, the over-reliance on ports. When the Switch was first revealed and it had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I thought, you know, okay, I understand it. It's kind of early in the Switch's life. Usually consoles have a lifespan of 5 to 6 years while the Wii U was only 4, so I kind of get it. But we're in 2020 right now, approaching the end, and we still don't have Mario Kart 9. Now you could think, maybe I'm just salty we don't have Mario Kart 9. But no, we're missing big series on the Switch. Where's the new Donkey Kong game? Donkey Kong, whether you want to admit it or know it or not, is one of Nintendo's biggest franchises. Did you know that Donkey Kong Country was the second best-selling game on the SNES?
Yeah, it was. Donkey Kong Country was huge back in the day, and so was Rare.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Well, to be fair with you, I think that Retro's Donkey Kong games are even better, but nevertheless, I think the Donkey Kong Country series, just the entirety of it, that's my second favorite Nintendo series. So we don't have a new Donkey Kong on the Switch. We don't have Pikmin 4, which has apparently been near completion since 2015. And we just are lacking a lot of series on the Switch, and this is what I attribute to over-relying on ports. Nintendo used to port games, sure, but those were usually $20 under the new Play Control line that added a few enhancements like widescreen and motion controls, and they weren't that frequent. Like, I'm looking at my Wii library right now, there are so many games from so many different series, yet the Switch, it's just so lacking.
Yeah, it honestly, again, it feels like they do a port for a slot that they should have for a new game. It's just, I don't know. Like, I would be okay with it personally if it was half the price of 60. So if it was like $30, which I got Link's Awakening for, I'm fine with it. Speaking of Link's Awakening, that game was not worth $60. I'm sorry. It was either $30 or less. That game was worth. It's a very precise remake, meaning they didn't add anything really new besides like a dungeon maker. They didn't expand upon anything. It just didn't feel like a $60 game, and it just ties into the issue of, you know, Nintendo kind of filling out their schedule with these ports that are overpriced, but that sell well, and I think that's a really big issue.
Yeah, and going into that, I totally agree with you with Link's Awakening, but that's more of a remake, so I'll give it that. But yeah, exactly. I mean, Mario Kart is Nintendo's biggest series by far, and we still don't have Mario Kart 9 after all these years. I think it might come next year, which we'll definitely get into the predictions, but okay. I'm just gonna say this right now so there's no issues. Obviously games were delayed this year. The pandemic really pushed things aside. Whether Nintendo likes to admit it or not, maybe to please investors, games definitely did get delayed. But the thing is, the games that we're seeing, it mainly consists of ports. The next big Nintendo game that's coming in the foreseeable future is 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which we know nothing about. I mean, they even had a trailer at the Game Awards and it showed no new footage. We're definitely going to get into that, and that's really big. It's a part of a big issue with Nintendo, specifically this year. It's kind of existed in past generations of the Switch, but, you know, it really fully showed this year. But with the ports and everything, it's just, they over-rely on them. They treat them as big new releases. There was a time that we went not knowing about any new games, except for Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Now, I love Pikmin. I love that series so much, and Pikmin 3 is a phenomenal game. But the fact of the matter is, we should have Pikmin 4 by now. And if they were going to port it, why not have a trilogy or something?
Yeah, that's my problem with the game. Again, $60. It has some additional content, sure, but for a game that already came out. Now, you could have justified the $60 with a whole trilogy pack with some extra content, widescreen, HD, different controls. Honestly, I don't think it takes that much work to port these 3 games over.
Oh, it certainly doesn't take a lot of work porting 3 certain games.
Of course not, but look, we all know, for instance, that the Metroid Prime trilogy has been done for years. They're just waiting for the right time to release it. If they had the time to port over that trilogy that's coming whenever Metroid Prime 4 is coming, then there shouldn't really be an excuse for them not to package Pikmin 1, 2, and 3 together.
Yeah, and this just goes for a lot of the ports in general. Like, why not throw Donkey Kong Country Returns with Tropical Freeze? Make it HD, yeah. That would be amazing. Of course, I'd still want new games, of course, but the thing is, with the ports, not only do they over-rely on them, but oftentimes there's not enough new content to justify the price, and that's my problem with them. And especially this year, we had Tokyo Mirage Sessions, we had the Xenoblade remake, which at least it was a full-on remake and definitely worth the price, and then we got Pikmin 3 Deluxe. They just over-rely too much on these older games, treat them like new releases, and we gotta start seeing some new games. Now, I'm not saying we should see them this year, because obviously, I advocate for the health and safety of everyone, and that includes developers, of course, and you can't be against things like crunch time and say, oh, Nintendo's not releasing games fast enough. No, just, the thing is, this has been a problem since 2018. I mean, look at that year. What did we get? We got mostly ports, we got Kirby, Mario Tennis, and Super Mario Party, which barely had any content, and then Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I'm not going to deny, that's a major game. Awesome game, one of the best on the Switch. But it's just been a persistent problem, and it's no different this year. Now, we're going to get into the other issue of Nintendo making smaller games that no one really asked for. Now, this is all subjective and everything, but I advocate for more casual games on the Switch. I love the Wii for that reason. I know a lot of people will say, oh, the Wii was such a casual system, Nintendo just catered to the casuals. Well, maybe they did. E3 2008 was certainly an indicator of that. Remember that?
Oh, who can forget?
Cammy Dunaway, Shaun White, the Wii music thing. Good times.
Good times.
It would be the perfect opportunity to have a game like Wii Sports Resort or any of the Mii games, yet they make another Clubhouse games, which, no disrespect to Clubhouse games, but that was really more of a thing of the past, because when the DS came out, phones weren't like they were now. You had something like a Motorola Razr, which, I mean, yeah, it could play certain kinds of games like Tetris and Miss Pac-Man, but it didn't really... You don't have the mobile games you do now. But there really wasn't that much of a need for Clubhouse games on the Switch. I'm not sure if people wanted it that much. But honestly, the Switch just has too many smaller games that it's just like, come on, you could have made something better. Clubhouse games could have been really cool if they went with a full Nintendo theme. Kind of like if they did that with the Game & Watch Gallery games, with the Mario theme and the Game & Watches. But no, it just is really basic, it's generic. And overall, it's just... They rely too much on smaller games.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like, I don't know. I think you and I discussed it. We were kind of concerned of where the big, the heavy hitters were, and this was beyond 2019. I'm sorry, not 2019, 2020. 2019, 2018. We were kind of wondering like where all these major franchises were.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing I like to say is that when the Switch was first revealed, I often wondered what they would do with the next Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, and 3D Mario. Now we're in 2020, right, and I'm still wondering what they're going to do with that. Thank God we got Super Mario Odyssey, though, because that game is so good. Favorite game of all time.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think those games are definitely in development, but it's just so bizarre that we haven't at least seen any of them yet. Like, I think we're the third year into the Switch, and we haven't seen them yet.
We're actually entering the fourth year. We are in the third year now, but the fourth year is coming next year. That's an entire presidential election and Olympics in a time frame. And usually with Mario Kart specifically, we get a new entry every 3 years or so. I would say 4 at the max. And it's just bizarre and not fun that we're going this long without Mario Kart 9. Another thing is, before I touch into the biggest problem, I wanted to touch on this certain game. I know I really didn't talk about it in the Nintendo rant, because this is completely subjective, but Gyoshi and Super Mario T, if you're watching this is for you guys, but it's also for a lot of people who want to know my opinions, but you guys specifically helped me with this discussion, thinking about it, and I definitely want to put this in there. Paper Mario the Origami King. Now, I'm going to be flat out honest, I didn't buy the game. But the reason I didn't buy the game is that it just shared too much DNA with Sticker Star and Color Splash, and I'm glad a lot of people like the game. Any amount of joy you can get in 2020 is good, and whether I like the game or not, I'm really happy a lot of people enjoyed it, and it does have a lot of positive aspects. But the way I see it, in my opinion, it's like tomatoes. I don't like tomatoes. I've tried eating tomatoes many times, yet I still can never like them. But the thing is, I know that with Paper Mario the Origami King, because there are certain things I don't like in games, specifically Mario, and that is generic characters, convoluted battle systems, and just overall not exactly going for a good direction. Now, I know a lot of people haven't played the past Paper Mario games, because obviously Nintendo doesn't let them, but we'll get into that. But Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario, and even the first one were full of creativity, unique characters, interesting environments, great stories, great battle systems. They had it all. And while Super Paper Mario deviated from the battle system, it still was a great game. It was a little bit on the easy side, sure, but it had an epic story, awesome characters, and you remembered it. I really don't want to get into spoiler territory, because if you've never played it, it's a game you definitely want to play. I went in completely blind, and it's a game experience I'll remember forever. But with Paper Mario the Origami King, it's clear the developers really wanted to do more with the game, have more characters, have personalities and different looks, stuff like that. But they just couldn't, because someone at Nintendo said, hey, we need to make this game just have characters from Super Mario Bros. 3, and that's it.
Yeah, it's just... I've never really played like the Paper Mario games in depth, but I do remember hating Sticker Star a lot.
Yeah, Sticker Star was terrible.
Yeah, it was actually one of the first Mario games I was like, this is just flat out bad. Like this is bad. This is terrible. So it got to I don't know. I haven't been following the series prodigiously, but it is weird that they would follow up on something that the fans and even the critics were kind of not leaning too positive into. I know Color Splash got some good positive feedback, but it was still met with mixed reception, even still. So it was just it's kind of tone deaf on Nintendo's ends to kind of do something like Origami King did.
Oh, totally.
And
Especially the third time around. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me the third time. I don't even know what to say.
yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just really again, it's tone deaf. I really don't know what else to say because everybody's been telling Nintendo what they want. You know, I don't think the Paper Mario series is the franchise to experiment with. If you want to experiment with these cool ideas, maybe make a spin-off of the Paper Mario franchise. Maybe make a new franchise entirely. But don't destroy the integrity of what the franchise was.
And I know people will say, "Oh, it's different. You should like it because there's no changing the series now." But I mean, why do they even have a battle system or turn-based battles if they're not trying to emulate the past games like Thousand Year Door and 64?
Yeah.
And just going into that, look how well Super Mario Odyssey did because they listened to the fans. They made another open world 3D Mario. I know some people on Twitter will say things like, "Oh, Super Mario Odyssey isn't that great," but every game goes through that phase that's popular where people just nitpick it because of silly reasons. And of course, if you don't like the game, you're valid to have your opinion and everything like that, but it's just with Paper Mario. I think if they didn't have the restrictions in place and they could do wacky and crazy things with the characters and have more unique personalities and, designs, I think that game would really be good. And a better battle system, of course. But I'm glad a lot of people like it. It's not for me. It's like Tomatoes, as I said before. Although I do like some aspects of it, which is it is exactly like Tomatoes because I like Tomatoes in stuff. So if they can have some of the story elements of Origami King and the visuals while also having what was great about the past games, I think that'd be great. But overall, it was a disappointment. I think I might try out the game when it's on sale or something. Obviously, I might get it used because I really don't want to support Nintendo's direction of the series, but I'm glad a lot of people liked it. I just wanted to point this out.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, another thing is that this is just the tip of the iceberg of a bigger problem when it comes to Nintendo and communication with the fans. This year has been absolutely horrible when it comes to communication with the fans. What I mean by this? Well, let's see. We went a very long time not knowing about any Nintendo games that were coming out in the foreseeable future. We waited a long time. All we knew about was Paper Mario, and there was a period where we didn't know anything. So that's usually when we expect a direct or a new game announcement or something like that. What does Nintendo do? They have the very first ever Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. Now with the Partner Showcase, it's a good idea. I feel a lot of Nintendo Directs are padded with third-party stuff that doesn't have the mass appeal of Nintendo games because when you're watching a Nintendo Direct, it's those big heavy-hitter AAA titles like Mario and Zelda and stuff like that that really get you interested. But it's cool to have some third-party stuff, but I felt like they kind of relied a little bit too much on that. But with these partner showcases, they're like the Metroid Prime Federation Force of Directs. They couldn't have come out at a worse time. So Nintendo has the first one. They show off Cadence of Hyrule DLC, WWE, and the Direct gets overwhelmingly negative reception. Then August comes along. Instead of doing a Direct or having some announcements, they announce Pikmin 3 Deluxe, being the only game that we know about for quite some time, and they have yet another partner showcase. And I think we're towards the end of the year now, unless Nintendo does some crazy New Year's Direct. I think that's it. Because all they had this year was the mini Direct that only announced Clubhouse games first party wise, and then they had the mini Directs. And that was it.
Yeah, and one of the strangest things to me is that regarding communications with their fans is that they weren't really transparent. The story changed so much. They said, the COVID did not impact our delays, and then they said, COVID did impact our delays. They changed their story so much to the point where we were just kind of like, okay, just say that it caused you delays. Like,
Yeah, that's all
I
they
don't
gotta
get
say.
what's so hard about saying that.
All they gotta do
Yeah.
is just say, hey.
And they did kind of say that in the beginning of their directs this year, but it just kind of felt like I feel like a lot of the games that they had planned for this year were delayed indefinitely.
Yeah, definitely, because obviously this year has been a major hindrance to productivity and stuff like that. And all they gotta do is just say, hey, we have these games in development. We're not sure when they're gonna be ready, but yes, they're coming.
Yeah.
And maybe have a little teaser or trailer or something, because 2020 wasn't always the pandemic. I'm sure they were working on some games and up until like March, worth and without development issues, because that's what really caused it. The pandemic did definitely delay games, and that's all they gotta say. They just gotta say, hey, games were delayed. Here are some footage of the games that were delayed. We don't know when they're coming, but they are coming. Because just being excited for something and knowing something's coming, it can really bring joy to people. A lot of people are excited about Metroid Prime 4 coming. Obviously, it might be a little while until we get it, but just the fact that we know it's coming is great. Breath of the Wild 2, another great thing. And it's just, what do we really have to look forward to besides 3D World? We don't know.
Yeah, and this will go into the predictions video, but I just really hope we have games to look forward to next year. You know, or some heavy hitter titles. I don't know. It just felt so empty this year, compared to the year before. Even 2018 had Smash. You know, I mean, we have Smash DLC right now, but
To be
it's not
fair,
a new
though,
title.
we had Animal Crossing, which is absolutely huge. I would say it's on Smash levels a huge, just in a different way.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just, my problem isn't that there aren't games this year. My problem is that they're not communicating with the fans and saying that games are coming, and they're just being radio silent and not listening to what the fans are, what they want to see. Because when you buy a console, I kind of see it as a contract, unless you're buying it years later when it's discontinued. Like, here's a new console, we're going to release games for it, and you should expect a 4 to 6 year lifespan. Longer if it's successful, of course, which the Switch has been selling like hotcakes, so it's definitely successful. And it's just, overall, I think the communication hasn't been transparent. It's been really bad when they have stuff like the partner showcases instead of regular directs. And it just pretty much screams, Nintendo Switch has games, just not from us. Now, do I think these games are coming? Probably. But I don't think it's fair that fans are being left in the dark. And just overall, they gotta step up their game. And these Twitter announcements aren't really doing it either.
Yeah, I mean, the sad part about the Twitter announcements is that it feels like they're phasing out the Nintendo Direct style of announcements, slowly but surely. And the sad part is that it actually works. When Origami King dropped just with a Twitter announcement and on YouTube, it blew up for a couple of days.
Yeah, but the thing
that's really
is,
all the hype that they...
with the Twitter things, there's initial excitement, then it kind of phases out. But with the Direct, I think there's more excitement because you're anticipating it, you want to see what's there, you predict what's being in it.
Oh, yeah.
And overall, the Directs definitely do matter, and I don't think the Twitter announcements can replace them. Where you're going to see them again?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. It seems like they might be phasing them out. But either way, it's just, they got to be more transparent. So going on from that, this really, really gets into the nasty practices that Nintendo has done this year. The lack of communication was a big one, but I think these last few are some of the worst things that Nintendo has ever done. We're going to talk about Super Mario 3D All-Stars. How could a collection of 3 of the best games of all time be bad? Well, let's face it. There are many collections out there that have so much love and care put into them. One even made by Nintendo being Kirby's Dream Collection. And what do they do for 3D All-Stars? They just slap 3 games together, have a soundtrack where you can't even fast forward or rewind the songs or even make a playlist or anything. No extras or anything. And they just slap together a bare bones way to play these 3 games. Now, is it nice having these games on the Switch? Absolutely. But the problem is, there was just no effort put into it, and they treated it like a major release.
Yeah, and honestly, they've been rumored since, I think, the beginning of the year. And the fact that they didn't announce it until they did kind of added to the backlash, just because everyone assumed they were going to be remakes for these games, and that would have been really cool. But it was ports, and they weren't even really great ports. They we got GameCube controller support months after the game came out for Mario Sunshine. Why? Why would you do that?
I think
Why
most
wouldn't
people
you
beat
have
the
that?
game by then.
Yeah, why wouldn't you have that at launch? I don't understand. And then why wouldn't you have Mario 64 in widescreen?
Exactly. And
Yeah,
another thing,
it just doesn't make sense.
if
Yeah.
they're gonna do the collection of ports instead of remakes, why not add Super Mario Galaxy 2, and yes, I'm even gonna say it, Super Mario 3D Land. That way,
Oh yeah.
you'd get every Super Mario or 3D Mario game on the Switch. You would have all of them in one collection, and I think it'd definitely be worth it. Maybe touch up the menu to look more fun, more of an anniversary celebration. I mean, look at the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch. That feels more like a celebration, and that's a novelty item right there. They could have done so much with this collection, but they just decided not to do anything with it. I don't get it. Why does Nintendo never do anything great for Mario's anniversary most of the time? Even going back to 2010, they had the Super Mario All-Stars 25th anniversary, and at least that included an art book and CD, but it was just an SNES ROM on a disc.
Yeah, I think my hunch is that the reason why Galaxy 2 isn't on there or 3D Land is that they probably want to sell them separately or have them as separate DLC because that's how you get more money. I mean, it sounds greedy and kind of scummy when you kind of think about it because this is supposed to be Mario's 35th anniversary celebration. But honestly, that's kind of what Nintendo's been doing recently. They've just become more and more corporate as everything goes on. And I mean they are a corporation, but you notice it more now than ever. And this ties into a subject that I'm actually kind of confused about. But I don't know if we're quite there yet. I want to hear if you have any more thoughts on this specifically.
Now, I was just gonna say, your idea for DLC would make sense, but why would they make DLC if they only have the game available until March 31st? This is something that has pissed off a lot of people, including myself. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch, Super Mario Bros. 35, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, and I'm pretty sure more things in the future are only available until March 31st. So essentially what Nintendo is doing is they're having some limited edition strategy. I don't know what they're trying to do, pull in more sales or anything, but it doesn't make sense if they're doing something like Super Mario 35 and Fire Emblem, the Fire Emblem thing, where they're digital. I could understand it for physical things like the Game & Watch and maybe the physical release of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, but the fact that they're removing them is a really scummy business move.
And the Fire Emblem thing, it's not even properly utilized for the port. It's used on the Wii U's emulator, which was notorious for making games look awful on the Wii U. I remember Mario 64 looked really bad. So it's not even a good port, and it still has an expiration date. For a game that people in America, I don't think ever got to play. I don't understand how that works in the grand scheme of things. I don't know why they do it at all. I don't think it does. I don't think it benefits anything for their sales. If anything, I mean, it could make people go like, "Oh, we got to buy it now before it goes away," type of thing. But that's just so scummy, and it's so artificial because they've done it before with the 25th anniversary for what was it, Mario All-Stars on the Wii, and they had plenty of copies. It's just, it doesn't sit well with me that Nintendo are limiting their products. It's already bad enough that they're not doing enough with their legacy content, but it's worse when you say, "Oh, look at this, games that you guys wanted for a limited time only." What is this, a Burger King's kids meal?
No, Burger King Kids Meals would last forever, but if you're talking about Burger King, maybe something like the world's angriest Whopper or the Halloween Whopper, something like that. But, all it does to me is it doesn't entice me to buy a product because I'm worried it'll expire. It just gives me a reason, like, okay, if this is going to expire, like Super Mario 35, if this is going to expire on March 31st, why the heck would I want to play the game, get good at it, get invested in it, when it's just going to be taken away from me on March 31st? Yep. All it does is it's anti-consumer, it's not good PR, and this benefits nobody, and especially with the legacy content thing, Instead of having a vast library of all their older games like they had on the Wii, you just got a few NES games, SNES, the arcade games, which are actually really cool, though that's not really Nintendo and that's Hamster. And then they got Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and they're just treating the fans like garbage, and they might be doing something like a Netflix-style virtual console for the games that people really like you could get Nintendo 64, GameCube, and Wii for like a monthly rate. That'd be cool, but nevertheless, I think people should be able to buy these games whenever they want, and although physical products, I kind of see why it could be limited time, there's no excuse for digital.
So you're saying they might be doing an NES, Super NES Online style N64 and everything else?
Yeah, I think it'll be like something along the lines of Nintendo Plus, where it'd be kind of a retro streaming service thing, but you know, they really got to step up with legacy content, give us more of that legacy content we really want to see. Nobody should pay $100 for Chibi Robo or Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. It's
ridiculous.
It is totally ridiculous, and I talked about legacy content a lot in the Problem with Nintendo video, but it is a problem. I feel so bad for these kids that can't play GameCube games because they're stuck with ancient NES and SNES games.
That's ancient!
Yeah, oh my gosh, Jiminy Christmas! Is little Timmy playing Super Mario Brothers? That's ancient! To be fair, when my neighbor said that to me, he was talking about the Atari, but that's what it really feels like. Because these NES and SNES games, while they did have their legacy, people really want to see stuff from the GameCube and Wii more. That's the generation that's nostalgic now. We're past the days of NES and SNES. It's good to have those games, but we really need more legacy content. And all Nintendo does when it comes to it is say, here's your ancient games, and then gives us a Mario 3D All-Stars thing once in a blue moon, and makes it only available until March 31st.
It's just so ridiculous. I mean, for crying out loud, out of all stingy companies, Square Enix has a whole library of Final Fantasy games on the Switch. And it's Square Enix. They're really stingy. If Square is better with their legacy content, with their Final Fantasy brand, why isn't Nintendo?
I have no idea. They make Stingy from Lazy Town seem generous, and this is the kid who says, this mailbox is mine and this triagonal sign. He even claims the month of June as his own, so that goes to show you how stingy and just how greedy Nintendo has been. And of course a company is out there to make money, but you don't want to alienate the consumers. Speaking of alienating the consumers, another thing they like to do is they say Joy-Con drift isn't a real problem. There have been multiple lawsuits filed against Nintendo. There's a huge problem with Joy-Con drift. Yeah, good, exactly, that's how I feel, because they totally deserve it. They shouldn't be selling consumers faulty hardware and not doing anything about it. Do you remember when Mario Party 1 came out on the N64, and there was this mini-game where a lot of people would like use their whole hand over the joystick, and they'd get blisters?
Yeah.
Nintendo fixed the problem and gave them gloves and everything, and although it definitely wasn't a good problem to have, it's just, at least they did something. With the Joy-Con drift, they don't have a revision of Joy-Cons. At least with the customer service, they'll fix them for free. But this shouldn't be an issue, and they really got to do something about it.
Right. I've gone through 2 pairs of Joy-Cons. They have drifted within less than a year. And I remember when Nintendo used to be all about quality with their products. Not this generation. At least not right now. Because these things are just tiny. They're not ergonomic at all. The control sticks are just super tiny and have really no range. The drift is just abysmal. It really is. It destroys everything. And my Pro controller is drifting as well after many years of use. So it's not even a Joy-Con problem. It's just a Nintendo hardware problem. Why are your controllers doing this? You put a seal of quality and approval on your products. I don't see any quality here. The only quality I get is when I call Nintendo support to bring my products in. That's sad.
Yeah, it really is sad. And when you mention how products used to be durable, we went from a Game Boy that survived a Gulf War explosion to the Switch Joy-Con, which, ooh, Spica just hurt me. It's just ridiculous, and they're not doing anything to stop it either. It's just, okay, they have the customer service, but they really gotta step up with the hardware, because it's not just the Joy-Cons. When I got the Switch, the dock scratched the screen, You said you had
Yeah.
problems with overheating. It's just, it isn't right to sell consumers faulty hardware.
It's why I'm kind of hoping that this next gen Switch, which we will talk about in the next podcast, fixes all the issues of the original Switch. I really hope so, because if not, Nintendo is truly tone deaf. I really, because I can't believe the Joy-Cons have been an issue for this long with Joy-Con drift. I can't believe it. I really can't.
Yeah, I can't either, because it's just, we've gone so long and Nintendo doesn't even do anything to address the problem. Okay, you can send them in, but that's really annoying to do, and it's not consumer friendly
Yeah.
at all. So, with the Joy-Con drift, they ignore it's a problem, and then it's just, that's why lawsuits are coming. And I think they're fully in the right to sue Nintendo for selling faulty products. They really
Yeah.
gotta stop doing this. This is a major problem right here. And another
It
thing is
is.
that it's just, why would you want to buy a Switch when you could get a console that's more durable, has no problems with the controllers? It's just, I don't understand why Nintendo isn't doing anything to fix the problem, and it's really bad PR for them. And another thing that's really bad PR is their way of handling what fans do in tournaments and stuff like that. Obviously, we had the problems with the YouTube Creators Program and the fan games in the past. And that was something I really didn't care about that much, because it's not fair use when you make a fan game. Now, if someone were to use your properties and stuff like that, it doesn't fall under fair use unless it's some sort of parody or critique, which these fan games usually aren't. Do I agree with them taking the fan games down? No, but I guess it kind of makes sense. When they go too far is just when they had the Smash Bros. Big House tournament, they used Slippy to play Melee online. Super Smash Bros. Melee is a game that Nintendo offers no alternative to play. You can't play it on the Switch, you can't play it online. You either need a GameCube from years ago, the disc, or a backwards compatible Wii, or if you live in some town that hasn't updated within the last 20 years, you could find a hotel that uses the LodgeNet. But they offer no alternative to play these games, and yet they get so mad when people decide to use something like Slippy to play them. And yes, they're in their legal right to do that, but why do it? It's just, it doesn't make sense. It's bad PR. If Nintendo just ignored it, I don't think any bad PR would happen. I don't think anyone would think it's okay to pirate games or anything like that. The only reason that people are is because there are no alternatives. If Melee was on the Switch and had online, I can guarantee you that's what they would be using. The only reason why they're using Dolphin and Slippy is because there is no alternative. All it does for Nintendo shutting down the tournament is give them bad PR and sends a message of, hey, Nintendo is a really stuck-up company. They're mean.
But also, pirated games? People do that all the time.
Regardless if Nintendo shuts down a tournament or something like that, there are still going to be the people that pirate games. And I don't pirate games because I don't see the point. I'd rather just buy the games, mainly for the physical copy, of course, but it doesn't make sense, especially when they don't offer an alternative. We talked about legacy content enough, but it's really bad PR for Nintendo, and I don't think it's good what they did with the tournament at all. Because if anything, Smash fans are the most loyal Nintendo fans ever. They will usually defend Nintendo tooth and nail, and they saw that as going too far, and I think that was really the wake-up call for a lot of people, that Nintendo really doesn't care about their fans like they used to.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad, because you and I have felt like this for a while, actually for years, and now people are finally getting the message because the community is impacted.
And another thing is that just because they're in their legal right to do something, it doesn't mean they should. Shutting down the tournament was one thing, but they also sent a cease and desist for a guy selling Etika Joy-Cons going to a charity. I'm not sure about all the details of where the money's going to or not, but just the principle of it, going to a charity and having the Etika and Joy-Con logos. Well, the Joy-Con logo is what Nintendo was going after, but all it does is make Nintendo seem like a company that only cares about their properties and will do anything to stop people from using them in any way, and it just makes them seem like they're a prude or something.
It's sad because, really, here's the thing. There has to be a gray area with fan games, and I know this because, I'm a Sonic fan, and I know that Sega is really involved with their fan community. Not a lot of people are like that. Not a lot of companies are like that. But they do say that there are gray areas, meaning there's a such thing as a fan game that people could enjoy for free, and there's a such thing as a fan game that is made for profit. And fan games that are made for profit are within legal action. That's fine.
You know
right?
what Nintendo should be going after?
What?
They should be going after those Chinese bootleg Nintendo games that are on the Play Store. Like there was this one MMO, Super Mario Odyssey thing. Why aren't they going after stuff like that in Super Smash Jungle World?
I don't.
And they're going
That's
after
the thing.
fans who just show their love for Nintendo and the characters.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, man. Because really, most of the fans, what most of the fans are doing, they're giving us free content, and because they were inspired by Nintendo, they were inspired by them. It's not going to replace any of the mainline games that come up, right? What they should be doing, like you said, they should be going after these imposters that are banking off money from stealing ideas from Nintendo. We're not really stealing ideas if you think about it. I mean, technically we kind of are, but we're not profiting off of them. And I know a lot of fan games that say in the beginning of their fan games, disclaimer, this is a fan game. We're not affiliated with this company or whatever, right? To differentiate it from the official games. I don't know how hard it is for Nintendo to accept that. If Sega out of all companies could do this, and Sega has their own fair share of problems, trust me, I know. But if they can do it, Nintendo can too.
I mean, if you think about it, the way that Sega handles fan games, especially with Sonic, they're seen as a company that people want to support because people think it's cool that they recognize fans' creations. In fact, Sonic Mania probably wouldn't exist if there weren't Sonic fan games because Christian Whitehead, he made a few of them, and they recognized him. They recognized his good work. Valve did the same thing. Nintendo just seems like Stingy from Lazy Town. Sonic and Sega,
really,
they seem like your cool uncle, but Nintendo, it's just like, it's mine, you can't do anything with it. It's like a kid who doesn't want to share their toys when you were in school. It's exactly like that.
Yeah, and, going back to the Joy-Con thing, because I didn't mention it before, it's sad that I had to get a Hori Split Pad Pro because their Joy-Cons don't work. A third party, is it third party? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is.
But a third party controller, licensed by Nintendo, by the way, so Nintendo has their seal of approval on it, are better Joy-Cons than the actual officially licensed Nintendo Joy-Cons. That is sad. That usually never happens.
Yeah.
Ever.
To be fair, though, we're past the days of Mad Cats, but I totally get what you mean. And just going off of the fan games thing, the thing is, they're in their legal right, but I think the best thing to do is either embrace it or ignore it. They did that back in the Wata era, where there were a ton of Mario fan games out there. You remember all the Mario Flash games? We got Super Mario Flash, we got Super Mario Crossover, Super Mario 63. They didn't do a single thing with them, and I think it just helps. It helps when people see these fan games and like, I want to play the real thing. It does nothing wrong making fan games, and it just...
What
was that?
No, I was going to say this ties into their dilemma with YouTube a couple of years ago, too. I don't know if you remember that, where they started copyright striking people for including their game footage in their videos, which was ridiculous. I know some YouTubers who still hate Nintendo to this day because of that moment.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem with it is that it just shows Nintendo as being stingy and just not recognizing the fans and seeing them as wrong. And when you show that you think your consumers are wrong or doing something wrong by showing love to the company and characters, it really alienates the fans. And I talked to another Nintendo fan about this, but he said in Iwata's era, he wasn't focused on alienating the fans. He was focused on bringing in the new fans and providing quality content. And overall, I think this wraps it up for the 2020 Nintendo review. And wow, that was one hell of a roller coaster. That was like the Kingda Ka of Nintendo. Oh my gosh.
Look, we don't want to be overly negative, but these things need to be said. We want this company to do better. We want to have better games. We want to have better communications with the company, right?
Exactly.
We just want things to be better. And if you out there who's watching this video want things to be better, speak up, make your voice heard, tell Nintendo that you want change, because now more than ever they're getting more and more bad PR. The Sephiroth stuff might have brought it down a notch, but it's still there. It is still there. Don't stop fighting for the things that you want to change.
Exactly.
For Nintendo.
We're not criticizing Nintendo because we hate them. In fact, if we hated Nintendo, we wouldn't make Nintendo content or love their games. We just want to see the company get better, and we haven't seen that with the Switch, especially this year. This was a culmination of everything that's wrong with the Switch era. Over-reliance on ports, bad PR, bad communication, and just overall just alienating the fans. And I'm just going to say this, we really had it good during the Wii era because Iwata himself was a game developer. He knew how much these games meant to people. What did we get out of it? We got the Wii, which was an all-in-one Nintendo system that had quality games on its own system. He had the Virtual Console so every generation could experience those. I mean, I was born in 99 and you were born in 2000. We would have never been able to experience games from the NES, SNES, and maybe N64 if it wasn't for the Virtual Console. Then, we got a whole lineup of quality games. The IPs were used. We got new Donkey Kong, new Kirby, new Mario Karts, new Pikmin, new WarioWare, new Wario Land. There were so many games coming, and I would say the Wii is the peak of Nintendo greatness because the games were just that good. Now, what do we have here? Just a company that feels corporate, that makes games just for nothing but money, no passion with game development, and just overall, despite there being some positives, I think this was easily Nintendo's worst year in modern history, at least when they were making games. Because even though 2016 didn't have any games, at least we knew the NX was coming. At least we knew that they had the Switch, and 2017 was amazing. But here, we only had Animal Crossing as the main major game, we had a polarizing Paper Mario, Age of Calamity, a few smaller things, and just overall really bad anti-consumer practices. Now if it weren't for those practices, I would say it's better than 2016 and would have been decent, but oh my gosh, this was not a good year for Nintendo.
No, and I think I think the discourse between Nintendo and the fans is what makes this one of the worst years to be a Nintendo fan, because it really shows how tone deaf that company is. I mean, they're not up with the times with online services. You have to use a freaking phone to do voice chat for games. Their hardware is shoddy at best when it comes to controllers. Most of their games are rushed and fixed with patches. You know, not all of them, but there are a good majority that are. And there's not enough releases for first-party titles. What is going on over there? I mean, I'm not even talking about the pandemic. This is beforehand. 2019, 2018. What is going on? Super Mario Party had barely any content. It's a step in the right direction, but that's not saying much when you only have 4 tiny boards. That game should have been cooking for a while longer. Look, it just doesn't make any sense. I hope Nintendo has a better year next year. I'm not holding my breath, but you know, this is a company that has a lot of my favorite games and a lot of my favorite franchises. I want to see them do better. I want this next gen Switch to be good. I really do. I want it to blow the Switch out of the water and make us forget that this year for Nintendo even existed, or this year in general.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm always going to have that pessimism because of the build up to this year. That this is the culmination of all of Nintendo's misgivings. I truly hope 2021 is a change of heart.
For me, the straw that broke the camel's back was the August Partner Showcase. But for a lot of people, I think it was free Melee, and this really goes to show that people will turn on Nintendo if they continue to do this. They might be able to keep up sales now, but there are people like me who are ready to turn on Nintendo and just, if they don't get better, I just play a PS5 or something like that. Because why would I want to buy a console that doesn't have a good output of games, that has hardware issues, when I could get something that has more power, is more durable, and has a steady stream of games? But honestly, I think this really wraps it up. We said what we needed to say. And going on to 2021, I think things will be much better. not just for Nintendo, but for the world in general. And
Yeah.
join us next time for our 2021 Nintendo predictions. And as always, I'm Demeech.
And I'm Ty the Guy.
And keep calm and dada on.